That's another one of the dubstep basses, and there's a filter on it that's moving, and that's where you get that like watery sound from. And then there's also the LFO tool that's having it go up and down. Yeah. No, my brain processed it right away.
Great day to play. Great day to play.
You ready, Bradwick?
I'm ready.
Sir Bradwick of Bradishshire. Bradishshire. Presenting to all to see, Sir Bradwick of Bradishshire.
I'm waving at everybody.
Oh, okay. What's the noise? Is that people cheering?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Hello. That was very close.
Reflexes, baby. This is why we don't joke around at the thing. I don't know if you guys can see. That's a Red Bull in my hand that's completely full that literally I hit off the table and then snatched.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
This is why we can't have nice things, Brad.
No.
Sir Bradwick, everybody.
Sir Bradwick.
Whether it's your first time here or you were joining us, thank you for being here with us today. You are loved, appreciated, always welcome in this channel, and you are
enough.
Today, another brand new group to us. I believe this is called HORI7ON. It's a 7. It's HORI7ON, but I believe that that's supposed to be a Z, and it is HORIZON. This is Dash. This one made, from the little bit I've seen, this one made some waves because for a debut, this video, we're only a week out on this one.
Okay.
And it has more than 2 million views on it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So yeah, it's definitely making a lot of waves right now. Now, this does come from an entertainment company that does have millions of subscribers. So it is a little bit different because they already established, and it's another group that has some Korean backing.
Okay.
That is a Korean made production, which is, I mean, I would say that it's interesting, but it's not really interesting. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Essentially that, like, it makes sense that groups that want to do this style of music would go and work with people that are in a place that does this style of music, right? Like, if this is what you're going to. And I want to be very, very clear because there is, I know there's a lot of talk that has already gone around the internet before we even get into this, where there's these talks about what is P-pop, what is global pop, and all this stuff. And I know that these groups identify as X, Y, or Z. I'm under the personal belief right now that I think it's kind of disappointing that we're getting to this point where, like, there has to be this claim to music, if that makes sense. Because music is universal, right? To me, music is universal. And really, as you go through time, there isn't a single piece of music that's, in terms of recent history, that has not, portions of that haven't been listed from a generation or a different version before. That's what music is. We take things. Yeah. There's a finite amount of notes in music, and we take those notes and we put them into different things. And it turns out that over time, you start, like, you're coming up with that finite number. There's only so many chord progressions. There's only so many types of music that can be done. Like, and so you use pieces from other genres. No different than when K-pop was created. K-pop used a lot of the music that was created in the West. The West got a lot of their pop and boy band sounds from rock groups that started in the 60s and 70s, right? We think of the Beatles, which was the first real boy band when you really think of it. Rock came from a lot of, like, blues and soul music, which came from the South. That actually ended up coming from, like, old slave chants and stuff. Like you just look at music throughout time and the way that it's changed, and we always use things that are, you know, from different aspects and different portions, and we rearrange it. The only people where, like, the first of their time is when you think of, like, the early day, like, classical people, when, like, they were creating what music was going to sound like. Like, the people back in the day that didn't know, that had to do it themselves, they created music.
They did.
They get all the copyrights, right?
They
created
can take
it, right? But up until that point. So I just kind of want to, at least in this channel, I want to put to bed that aspect, because we do not approach music that way. And I get that there is, you know, a pride aspect of it. There's a pride to say, like, hey, this is P-pop, this is K-pop, this is J-pop. What I like is, when you really think of it, a lot of the elements, we talked about this in a previous video, if you want to see our reaction to Plus Amigo, we really, really go in and we talk about the elements of that most of the sounds that you're actually hearing in K-pop and P-pop and J-pop and T-pop and all the other heavy synth pop music that you hear today are actually music that started in house and techno and other types of music that were very, very prevalent from the late 90s until 2012, 2013, and still a lot of club music that you would hear all around the world. And those are now being used, because they were underground before, are now being used in mainstream music like this. So
yeah,
I want to be very, very clear about that like we are here to appreciate the music. And I say that because, again, we do positivity in this channel. And then before we get into this, because I know that there's already been discussions about this, I will not get dragged into the discussions about, like, what do I think about it being called one versus the other. These are Filipino artists to me. I put them in a P-pop category, but it's music, and let's enjoy it. Let's all just enjoy it together for what it is. So,
yeah.
But I'm interested to hear what your thoughts of the music are and the artists are and their individual talents. And that's what we're going to be doing today. I know this is a lot to talk about before we even started the video.
Yeah,
but at the same point in time, these are things that we should talk about. And if you're here, again, just to watch the video and there's a comment down below, then you're like, you talk too much, start the video already. I would refer you back to the original video. If you just want to watch the video, you should probably go and do that, because we add substance here. There was supposed to be a little sparkling thing on my smile right there, you know?
Yeah.
A
little
ding, little sparkle in my eye. Anyway, guys, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow along with our journey, check out our live streams Saturdays, noon Central Time, and you can check out our brand new single, My Light, that is out now on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, all the other places that music exists. And we do have a bunch of exclusive P-pop performances that are coming out on the channel right now, so make sure that you're checking out those and support those artists as well. But without further ado, let's go.
I like that vocal in the background.
Race like that, race like that, race like a flash and sound like tipping all you. You know that it's my home ground. Don't even try to look around.
What is that background noise? It sounds like something has.
It almost sounds like a car starting.
Well, it's like,
but it's
like a volume shaper, and it's like it's moving, but it's also like panned.
It's taking something. It's taking a sound, and it's just adding things to it. It's really cool. Here, we've talked about this a lot. People do not realize the importance of ambient sounds or pad sounds in music. The things that you don't realize are there that add depth to a song are extremely, extremely important when it comes to stuff like this. When it comes to heavier stuff, when it comes to stuff that you're trying to give attitude to, extremely, extremely important in sound design.
Songs feel empty when they don't have them.
Right. And a lot of the music, even if they're light, they might just be a note, right? I know a lot of people will take a bass note or a root note that, like, let's say that they have, it starts on C. It's a C major scale, and it starts on C, and that's the key that it's in, and literally they just have a C that goes through the entire song with a pad and a widener that just goes to the whole thing. And it's really far in the background just to add depth. It happens.
It's very normal.
But man, that's another one, man. Another one.
Great sound design.
Another one.
Another
Great
one.
sound design. This is definitely a Korean company. You can hear it. This, I don't know where they are in this. This place though looks freaking awesome. It's like, it looks like an old cathedral. But it's another like.
There's a budget here.
There's a budget here. There's a budget here.
There's a reason that they're there.
Yeah, I mean, just look at what we've done in this first little part, right?
It goes between
so
like 4
we go
different
between
places.
this outside at like a shipping yard, which this actually really reminds, the shipping yard really reminds me of Stray Kids' God's Menu.
Okay.
It's ironic because I know that I compare a lot of things to Stray Kids. There's times where I also compare a lot of things to BTS because they're what we know, but I compare things to them because I like to talk about things that I believe are at the top of their game. And Stray Kids, when it comes to sound design, for me and for Lucas, they are some of the best in this style of music right now when it comes to sound design. They got it. Their producers got it. They do a lot of self-production. I mean, they get sound design for this. So when I talk about it, you know, don't there's nothing bad being said.
just-
It's a good thing.
It's just your reference point.
right.
Everybody has a different
Everybody
reference.
has different reference points.
Yeah.
But if you go and you listen to groups like that, if you haven't listened to Stray Kids, you will start hearing kind of some of the things that we're talking about. And this really, really kind of reminds me of God's Menu. We have the different changes. I think that this dark scene right here looks like it could also be at like the tarmac of whatever airport that they're at. And then we have this private jet that like they are using. Like
They have a private jet.
there's some
They have
there's
money.
some money there's some money going on here. It doesn't necessarily have to be theirs. They probably just rented using the jet and like taping in it for a day. But either way, there's a budget.
Yeah.
There's a budget, and it's really, really well done. The costumes are amazing. The outfit, I shouldn't say costumes. The outfits are amazing.
outfits.
I call them costumes because I came from musical theater.
Okay. So
Right?
yeah. Once
So,
again,
like,
your reference
My
point
reference
is
point,
different.
like we had costumes, right?
Yeah.
We didn't think about it as an outfit or not, but we played characters, and those characters had costumes. And so,
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, just really, really well done. Sound okay. All right, guys.
All right.
I don't keep a thing, show riding, I'm never gonna stop. No rival on my way, but never feel lonely. Carpet is rolling down the ground. We're running to the sky. Can you feel my heartbeat?
Hold on, because a lot of the bigger upstart companies will put English subs on it. Just even if stuff is in English, I can't. There's like this whole thing right now, by the way, that there's studies that talk about how we can't watch things without subtitles on anymore. Even regular TV. It used to be back in the day that if the subtitles were on, we would be annoyed. Remember, we'd be like, "Why are the subtitles on?
Yeah,
Take
you
the
need to turn
subtitles
them
off
off."
this."
Yeah.
But now it's like I can't watch regular TV without having the subtitles on.
Yeah. I like to follow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's just a weird thing that has just become part of our lives. Anyway, I'm sorry. I really wanted subtitles.
Okay.
That's it. I'm downgrading on my where's my paper? -1 point. That's right.
No subtitles.
No subtitles is how I write in
They were
circles,
doing
by the way.
So good.
Almost nailed it.
Almost
F.
nailed it.
No, I'm just kidding. All right.
Never feel lonely. Carpet is rolling down the ground. We're running to the sky. Can you feel my heartbeat? Running up high to the sky. It feels like flying too high. Do what you want instead of hiding you in. We go like a dash, 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 dash. Dripping like a flash, bring the crash, 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 crash. Like a hurricane, say oh. Giddy up, say
That's another one of the dubstep basses, and there's there's a filter on it that's moving, and that's where you get that like watery sound from. And then there's also the LFO tool that's having it go up
Yep.
and down. Yeah. No, my brain processed it right away.
These last two groups, man. These last two groups.
These are experimental.
I don't necessarily know that it's experimental anymore. Like it was at one point in time.
Now it might be
But
normal.
it's happening more and more. But man, this is the kind of stuff that like, and don't get me wrong, I love everything. We love great vocals, right? Like we love everything from OPM. There's always different things, but when it comes to this style, when you try to do a harder beat, dude, these beats hit so hard.
They
Like
do.
it's like I think the when you think of really, really good sound design and a good backing track, what I think of, if I take the vocals out of this and it still makes me move,
Yeah, then it's
a
great.
good backing track. It is a great backing track because each one of them is adding in its own elements, and yet it's still not too much where it overshadows the melody. And that's a very, very thin line that you have to play around. You know, like you want your backing track to be amazing, but you don't want it to overshadow the vocals.
Yeah.
I think that's done really well here. It might just be because I'm hypersensitive and my ears are hypersensitive, and these headphones tend to pick up a little bit more of the highs. But like the LFO that was there in that, I almost was like I wanted to cut.
Someone that brings down some of the high end.
Yeah, like I
Yeah.
almost wanted to cut like from like 12, 14K hertz on, because it was like there was something in there, but I think it's just my, like it's not a hit on them. I think it's just
Yeah.
my ears where like I'm really, really
No,
sensitive to
there's
those
also
high-pitched
like
sounds.
there's that ambient like key sound, and I think that's
Yeah.
getting really up there.
Yeah, but again, it's probably the headphones that we're wearing and the fact
Yeah.
that like I'm hypersensitive to high pitches. So
Mhm.
man, dude, I want to go back. I just want to go back to that.
we go like a dash, 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 dash. Dripping like a flash, bring the crash, 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 crash. Like a hurricane, say oh. Giddy up, say oh. Give me up. We go like a
Let's talk about there's some important sound design pieces in here that I think showcase something, and I want to show again. I feel like this is like, because they're so similar. If you really want to understand what we're talking about here, because I'm not going to revisit the whole thing, go and watch our plus video of Amigo, where we talk about sound design and space. We talk about like sound design space, and then come back to this portion of the video that we're going to have. Because I want to talk about this. I want to point out one part here in this chorus where you can really, really hear the space.
Trying to join me, but you like a cash. Chasing money through the sky.
Here we go. Okay, so when you just have the rap vocals going on here, and if you're listening on like a laptop right now and just through regular speakers or through your phone speakers, this is going to be far harder to hear. I would recommend, even if you only have like your iPhone headphones or like a generic pair of stereo headphones, put them both in to be able to hear what we're talking about. I want you to listen to this as 5 seconds leading up to the music, and pay attention to what happens between the vocals and how upfront the vocals sound in relation to the music when it's the rap. And then once they come in singing and there's tone, what happens to them. Do you hear it? So what happens in there is that once we put in tone, we talked a lot about space. There's only so much space, right? And the reason you can get away with really, really heavy sounds when there's not a tone in your voice and those vocals sound like they're prominently in the front is because when there is no tone, they're not taking up the same space in the mix. The timbre in your voice, it's actually like right now, if I'm talking and I'm rapping, this is actually going to be far more on the low end of that spectrum, right? But if I'm singing, even if I'm singing down here and I'm actually giving it a full tone, this is far more in the mid to the high end of that, especially in my voice where I have a lot of air in my voice because it picks up a lot of the high end. So they're even though they sound similar, they're not when it comes to taking up space. And because they have this really, really cool sound design that's all over the spectrum, when they're talking, the voices sound very, very upfront. But for those 4 seconds, because it's only a small portion, the decision was likely made to say like, hey, this is a small portion, it still sounds good. We're not going to try to EQ a bunch out of that backing, because it's going to sound like you're going to be able to hear it. It's too much, right? But what does happen for those 4 or 5 seconds in this portion and right before this, where you hear those vocals come in, is they almost start blending in with the backing track as opposed to sitting more above the backing track.
Yeah, because it's also stereo, so
right.
It's all...
So it gets what's called muddy. And this is a perfect place. It's so cool because we were just talking about this is a perfect place to be able to hear it. If you're listening on headphones, you can really hear that sound difference here. And again, because it's short, you're not going to do it. There are ways to get around that. You could EQ, which means like you would pull portions out of it. We could like EQ certain portions of it out in the vocals, but they're also harmonies. So then you'd have to EQ 3 or 4 different portions out, and it would just sound like at that point you lose the thing. But what most people will do is in long portions, what people don't even realize is they do this either they're side chaining or again EQing portions. If it's like a whole verse where like in the chorus, maybe there's more vocal layers, so everything's bigger, and then they get to the verse, and then they'll literally, just for the verse, they'll EQ sections out so it sounds like it went in the back more, but you don't realize it because it's the whole thing. If I did it in the mid of it, you could realize it more. So it's just a very, very cool point with sound design. I know that people sometimes like when we geek this, and again, trying to pick moments where we start talking about things, and then I realize that like, oh, most of the people that are listening don't realize what we're talking about. And trying to explain it. So anyway.
Trying to join me, but you like a cash. Chasing money, $billion babe. Why can't you cut it off your this year? Stay out of here or just get out of here. Be very hurry, speed up. You know that I am fast enough. Riding, I'm never gonna stop. No problem on my way, but never feel lonely. Combat is rolling down the ground. Turn up the light and fire. We go like a dash, 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 dash. Dripping like a flash, bring the crash, 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 crash. Like a hurricane. I say oh, giddy giddy up. Say
That was cool. That was very cool. I like instantly analyzed it and I was like, yep, I know what's going on. Does that happen to you when you hear something and you know how to make it?
It's all the time.
Yeah.
That's what we do. Like,
it's like, oh my God.
That's a problem with listening. That's the problem with listening to music, though, right? It's like you're sitting there and you're not, like, your brain is processing in real time what's happening with it. Sometimes you don't understand what's going on, but sometimes you do understand what's going on.
Oh my God.
It's a lot of sound design. It's a lot of work to make that happen. Again, this is where you really have to understand that sound design aspect. There's a lot going on there. You have to make those sounds go together. That is a portion, though, where, like, in that dance break, that's something that is much easier to be done without vocals on it, due to the fact that, like, vocals would have been completely lost with all of the different, frequencies and tones that are being used in there.
Yeah.
But this is the cool thing about P-pop. Like, okay, so here's the thing. When I think of it, K-pop, to me, isn't a genre of music. K-pop, to me, is an industry. And the reason that I say that is because the genres of music are so wide. Like, you can literally listen to one CD and you can have everything from, like, a 80s love ballad to a techno beat to a synth beat to a reggae beat to a calypso beat to, a trap beat, like, all in the same, right? Those are genres, right? But you don't have K-trap, K-calypso, right? You know what I mean? You don't.
Yeah.
It's an industry, and what is in that industry and what makes people, I think, fall in love with stuff like this, and this is the same for P-pop now that P-pop is gaining prevalence, is you have song mixture with extreme dance performances in group formats with personas, these big, larger-than-life live performances, and for the most part, at least with K-pop, and I know that P-pop is starting this too, it's the personal interaction that you get with the fan base. It's all the behind the scenes, all the videos, the dance videos, the games, really, really getting to know and understand the artist on a personal level, right? Kind of, parasocial relationship-y, but that is what people love about genres like this. And this is a song that could never be done outside of those genres.
No.
Because who's going to do that? Who's going to dance like that? If it's a solo artist from the West, who cares? One person on stage doesn't look cool doing that.
Yeah.
6, 7 people on stage look friggin' awesome doing that. You know what I mean? And like that's, so when I think of these, and we had this entire talk at the beginning talking about, like, let's put the genre thing aside. Good music is good music. And really what it comes down to at the end of the day is this is a formula about group presence and persona and gravitas. I think gravitas is a really good word. I don't know if that's really a word that is used much anymore. Charisma and gravitas. And it just means it's very, gravitas is the best way to say this. A lot of times we used to say that, like, good political candidates would have that. When they go into the room, it's like they command presence, right? Think of gravity, it pulls you in, right? Gravitas is kind of that you have this gravity-like personality that makes people want to listen to you, that makes people want to watch you, right? That is kind of what gravitas is. It really is that. And then the charisma aspect of, like, when they do watch you, then it makes you smile.
Yeah.
Right? So those are very, very important pieces of the puzzle. And that's this entire, when done well, that is what this genre, multiple genres, whatever you want to call it, however you want to label it, that is what they all do.
Yeah.
That is what they're designed to do. And it's done remarkably well here. Even though this building, I'm fairly certain, looks like it's going to be, like, condemned and they probably shouldn't be dancing in it. But, that's neither here nor there. I don't know that they have OSHA laws. It's for the aesthetic.
Yes.
It could be created, though. But, God, man. Wow.
We go like a dash, dripping like a flash, bring the crash, like a hurricane. I say, oh, giddy, giddy, up. Say, oh, give me, up. We go like a dash, going to the sky, high.
Jeez, man.
Yeah, it's really good.
Money. Money.
I mean, look at the, you can usually tell by what font they choose.
They created their own a lot of times, right?
Yeah, that's a custom.
Yeah, it's custom font.
It's a custom font.
Everything. Like,
Everything is.
the different cameras that they had to use, the different lenses that they had to use, the video crew, the fact that they were using drone footage for some of it. Like either they were using drone footage or they had rigs, like large, like movie rigs, the locations that they were at. I mean, it's wow. But this is it. Like, this is the type of stuff that's going to put them on the map. And put them into a level playing field, I think, globally, is what's going to happen. And I've said this from the beginning, that we started doing stuff, and it's not a slight on K-pop at all, but you know, BTS and people are probably going to flame for this. We've been BTS stands for a long time. We've been ARMY for a long time, and BTS had already started getting some global recognition and dominance. But let's be honest, what Dynamite and Butter as English songs did for BTS was astronomical in terms of the numbers that it increased for them in the US. And the reality is, whether we want to agree with it, whether you want to think that it's true or not, you know, English is more of a universal language. It is the language of business. So the vast majority of countries, especially for business, they teach English. For all, I don't like using but all industrialized nations, they teach English now. It's very abnormal that you wouldn't.
Yeah.
You know, and there's people that don't agree that like, well, they shouldn't have to sing in English to be able to be recognized. But when you're listening to music, and the way that average consumers or average people connect with music is we connect through it through multiple different ways, but one of those is through understanding lyrics. And if you can't understand and get emotional about a track, which the whole point of music is to make you feel an emotion, to make you feel a specific way, it's not going to take off here. It just isn't. Whether you like that or not, it is what it is. So you have to work in the system that is there. And where K-pop has always had an issue, but they've tried to work around that, is, you know, a lot of them are starting to have been for a while, but they are bringing in people from other countries, right? Australia, or they're making sure that they at least have some members that speak English really well, so that they can communicate and do some of these things in English if they want to get more global. And making more English tracks, but it still is select. But everybody in the Philippines speaks English.
Yeah.
Everybody. And so what P-pop, once it starts really taking off, once it starts getting the money and the credit that it deserves, is that in a global sense, there's not a learning curve or a teaching curve when it comes to creating English songs and lyrics.
Yeah.
There's not. They've already got it.
Yeah.
So once it takes, like, P-pop is going to have such a better place, a better starting point, and an easier starting point for global dominance, just because of the fact that they can do that. And I'm very, very interested to see in the next, 3 to 5 years what that difference makes in that short period of time.
Yeah.
Because, these groups have it, and it's very, very clear that when you have the money behind you, that the production value is there. So now, if you nail the production and you have the talent and you have the English, if everything else is on the same playing field and one's singing most songs in English and one's not, globally, that's going to take hold.
Yeah.
So very, very interesting. Another long one for you guys.
Yeah.
I know how much you love them, but it's really just podcasts at this point in time.
They are.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're really just podcasts at this point, and us nerding out. But we love that. We love doing that with you guys, and you guys seem to appreciate it. So we appreciate it from you. Thank you so much. Make sure you're checking out these artists, and make sure you're subscribing to the actual artist down below. If you like what you heard here today, make sure that you're supporting them. I always do leave in the description down below towards the bottom. There's always going to be the original link to the song there, so you can go and throw a like on the original song and give it a listen and give them a play there. That's obviously very, very important, because our goal is to hopefully help P-pop rise. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to this channel, because that's helpful too. Check out our live stream Saturdays noon Central Time. Check out our brand new single out now on Spotify, Apple, and Amazon called My Light, and all the other music places if you use like Deezer or Tidal or whatever the other random ones are that are out there. There's like 160 of them that it goes to. I don't even know. I don't even know all the names of them. So whatever you listen to, it's probably there.
Yep.
And I think we need another word. We need
Okay, we'll do this. How about you start? And
You
then,
want me to start?
Yeah, you start. I need to think of one.
All right, I'm gonna do water droplet.
Okay. I'll do apple.
Water droplet apple.
Yep.
Water drop apple. That's your code word for today. If nobody told you that they love you today, please do not forget that we love you. You're appreciated, always welcome here in this channel, and you are enough. And last but certainly not least,
It was a great day to play.
thanks, guys. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.